Anywhere you go, give it on. Anywhere you say, anywhere.
About 13, 14 maybe, driving a car, Cadillac. So the cops pulled me over, get out the car. They kind of did a hostile pullout, like I was dangerous, they had their guns out and sort of like back up, put your hands down, get on your knees, this whole walk. And they started searching the car. The car is very hot by now, and I'm on the hood of this car handcuffed, and they find a gun in the back of the car. Sitting in a bullpen of about 150 people, some guy throwing up, this guy sitting there sleeping. The odor, the stench was that bad. And so for another 2 days, I went through this process of going from one cage to another cage. You are then shaved, cleaned, disinfected. They count your teeth, they count your tattoos, they look you over, they're making all kind of subliminal jokes like he's good stock. He's got this tag, what does these numbers mean? I had my son name on my arm. They just labeled me a gang member instantly. This was not a system of paying for anything I've done. This is not a system that's gonna repair the community I may have harmed or damaged. This is a system of perpetual punishment because of who I am. It was scary, but every time that gate opened, I didn't know if they was just like gonna come in to get me, or if they was coming to beat people up or what, because people were being taken out, being roughed up all night. That was a regular thing. It was like police putting kids in hospitals. It was life or death.
With no reasons. I was 13 years old when they put the cuffs on me. It was like that one moment, like you're just like what the fuck, you know, like why am I getting stopped, you know? I mean, I was young. It kind of made me like question about it, you know? Yeah, I mean, I got booked in. First time going inside a juvenile facility. I've been incarcerated for 6 years and 6 months. I guess I just needed like a father figure. I needed that male role model, you know, in my life. I'm actually a father myself of a 6-year-old kid. I've seen them through visiting throughout the time I was incarcerated. I mean, I'm doing my best, as you know, what I didn't have, I'm giving it to him, you know, be the best father figure I can as well.
I've always understood as if like, and this is something that I've grown now as I'm 33, that I've had to realize that privileged kids is set up to go to elementary, junior high, high school, college, like you said, and then get a doctor's degree. But a person coming from the projects and out of poverty, we're set up for juvenile hall, placement, YA, prison, and like feds, and death. that is like our graduation pattern or lifestyle setup. Well, I grew up in a projects that had 8 gangs at the time, and we had housing authority police, so I've seen them come and go on often kicking in people's doors. So my first fond memory, I would start when I was like 4. My first encounter was an officer kicking in my grandmother's door, looking for my uncles and stuff, and it was just, I never looked at police as a protective setup. I just always looked at them as if a person that's coming in to mess up. I ended up getting released out of YA when I was 17. I was out for a couple of years, and I ended up going to prison when I was 22. I did 9.5, and now I'm here. Now I'm back at Homeboys. I'm a housing case manager here. I've been home for 2.5 years, going on 3.
That was the first time on that charge there. That was the first time I ever had any kind of encounter with police officers. So, I mean, enforcement like that. So, it changed everything for me, you know. I ended up going to 57 years, almost 58 years, and didn't realize what had happened.
How old were you?
17 years old, just turned 17 for 2 weeks. I was still in high school at the time. And when they came and roughed up one of my uncles, which was about 2 years older than me. And, because my grandmother never raised me at the time. And from that, they beat him up and they found out somebody called my name, and they came and picked me up from high school, in the school. They brought me, I was at high school in the classroom. And when they come pick me up, the principal got out of class, and when I walked out of class, they handcuffed me and put in the back of the car. School was great for me because I was an athlete, and I always played in any sport they had. I played in it. I was a boxer. Right behind it, had a recreation ground behind school, and I used to go there and box all the time, and that's why I learned how to fight box. Yeah, my grandmother had a thing where all her children, if something was to happen, at least I know, if something was to happen to any of their family members, and nobody else could take care of them, she'll bring them all in their house and raise them as, just like they was on her own, At one time at that house, we had 12 of us living in that house. One of my aunts, she got killed in a car wreck. She had 2 kids, and grandmother stepped in and took them in too, And my grandmother had 3 kids my age, and one under me. And she was trying to raise like 12 of us all together, 12 or 13. Gave me anything I needed at the time. And they wasn't really educated, well educated themselves. I guess at that time, the law didn't, really require for your family to come in there because it was a racial thing. And they say, well, they gonna question you and, interrogate you and all that stuff. People ain't gonna know, parents ain't never been in there with you to try to, find out what's going on, really, So I look at it, I said, well, I know those the law enforcement, they feel like at that time his badge, get him authorized to do whatever they wanted to at that time, So I guess that's what but it was, it was the way that way.
Or
I went straight to the parish prison. That they didn't use the juvenile thing. You were 17, you were considered adult at that time, juvenile, you know. They you go straight to the parish prison. They didn't even waste time going through the juvenile judge and try to get the record straight and all that. You know. Right after I got sentenced. Right after I got sentenced in '64. I stayed in the parish about 90 days. Might have been 4 months, but I went straight to Angola. I was 18 when I got to Angola. Other 57 years I was in, 50-some years I was in Angola, in Angola.
Yeah, so this is not police force necessarily, but this is still school security.
so did he sit you down?
No, what happened was they put me in a chokehold, and I mean, I never been in a chokehold that tight before. This is school security.
On school grounds?
School grounds. They put me in a chokehold.
How many were there? One?
I can recall that there was one, because everything was happening so fast and so dramatic. I can't remember that it was one school security. He did put me in a chokehold for about a cool, nice 7 minutes till once he put you in a chokehold, and I'm only about 133 pounds. I'm not that big. So once he had his arms wrapped around my neck, I felt trying to fight is not going to solve anything. Trying to get him off you to ungrip his real arms around your neck is not going to fight anything. So I gave up.
Oh,
So once he put his arms around my neck, I knew to give up, to stop fighting, stop resisting, just leave it alone, That was the first time I ever, like I said, came into an encounterment with someone like that, a law, not even a law enforcement, but a school security really putting his hands around my neck. That was the first incident. Like I said, I was 17.
Seeing my father with handcuffs on and stuff like that, I can remember that. Just felt shame and embarrassed, I guess, fear. In terms of all the kids in the neighborhood, it's like one man is not going to be able to deal with the dynamics of that. It's going to take the whole community to repair that. It's a heavy lift. Like for me, when I was a kid, I always wanted to be a scientist, but it wasn't a lot around structurally for like somebody to help me get to that point. But now it is, you know what I'm saying? For a little kid that might want to be or find interest in science, he probably can find a place that will really, try to help him develop him in that regard.
My name is Lee Ansley. I've been around the block a few times. I've been an addict. I've been a fool. I'm 65. I've done a total of about 38 years. I came from predominantly segregated. All my friends were black. I lived in a black neighborhood. In the school, I was totally black. Everything was black. So, and the first encounter I ever had with some people of different origin was a negative experience. Some white guys wanted to jump on me for walking down the street. Shame, guilt, ridden. I was sick and tired of being sick and tired, making bad choices. And I said, I'm gonna give my life to God. I gave my life to God on a dark, lonely road. And since then, these last 15 years I've never experienced anything like it. I'm in prison, but I'm free. I'm deriving the freedom I had never had before.
Actually, in 3 poverty states, I was following in the wrong footsteps and wanting what others had, when I didn't have nothing, they had cars and they had nice clothes and things of that nature. So I sold drugs a little bit and robbed and steal and did everything they did just try to get what they had. First started off at Juvenile Detention Center. I was 16. I've been incarcerated 36 years, going on 37 years straight right now. Take a kid out of society at that age and you have him in one place for 36, 37 years, he has to actually build his own sense of direction. Because you have a choice. Even though we in prison, we still have choices. And we have to make the right choice or the wrong choice. I try to choose better myself. It was one night that all this happened. It was one night that cost me my life. If I could give my life for the life that was taken, I would do it. They wanted to give me the death penalty. They couldn't give me the death penalty because of my age. They still give me a death sentence, a natural life. I mean, the remainder of your natural life. That's the death sentence.
There was abuse and trauma inside the home, so it was like, dang if I do it, dang if I don't. I ran away a lot. I didn't know where I was gonna go, but I know that where I was at was not fit for me. When I was 8 years old, I was cuffed and taken to East Lake Juvenile Hall. The main thing that I had a bad thing about was them forcing me to take psych meds, and it was court-ordered. I was a guinea pig because certain medications would give me physical side effects to where certain things were not growing. They were just continually switching meds to see what medication to keep me real mellow. So I really believe to this day I still have certain side effects from all the medications that throughout the years I had. I try to support efforts in trying to change the system. The only way to change the system, you have to change the constitutional rights to allow them to have better educational opportunities and not being forced to take certain medications because basically the state is our parent.
I've been in isolation for a month and a half because I used to take like 3 dinner trays, 4 lunch trays, 3 breakfast trays. I mean, because I was hungry and I feel like the consequences were. I mean, I was okay with the consequences, so I just took them and ate them. It only takes 1 minute, man, to take somebody's life, and that could be dying or that could be just going to jail.
I've been locked in my room for 6 to 7 weeks already. I recommend that just get as many books as you can, and if you don't have any books, then sometimes it's best to work out or think about things that you like. Or, I mean, it may sound crazy to you at the moment, but it works if you talk to yourself, or if there's any type of songs you know, to sing them. Like at all times, just keep singing songs and sleep as much as you can. Just most of the time, it works for me when I sing songs I know. I just continue to sing, even if I sung it already 10 times. I'll just keep singing it, and it works. Just kind of keep your mind off everything out there.
I'm 18 years old. Yeah, I was 16. I was 16 when I got incarcerated. And it's been two and a half years. I'll be turning 19 in January. It was armed robbery. Oh no, I'm not gang affiliated. I'm actually a Muslim, but I am an ex-gang member. And my first time being involved with the system, I had to be at least 11. I was 11 years old, and I had got an assault charge.
And your mom?
She passed away when I was 10. And rooted all my problems.
She lost custody of me when I was 9 months old. To be honest, I don't even know why, sir. My dad is deceased. He got killed in Las Vegas. I used to be on Vyvanse 30 milligrams. And now they took me off of that. I'm only on fluoxetine, which also is, you could also call it Prozac. And I'm on hydroxyzine. I got into altercation with another inmate, and he got me in my lip. My tooth went through my lip, so I have like an overbite, I think, right here, and it came through.
I've been in this room 4 months. I'm wearing the smock to prevent me from hurting myself because I want to commit suicide every time I get put in a smock. It's comfortable. I don't. I just sit here. The blood is on the wall because I hit my head against the wall. I was mad. Staff won't get me out the smock.
41. I've been now 26 years and some change. My mom had to be somewhere around about 14 or 15 years old herself when she had me. She was a drug addict. She had been in prison already like 3 times. I never seen my father before in my life, so I don't even know what he looked like. I was exposed to a lot of violence, drugs, prostitution, treating women bad. I was exposed to all these things in my life, especially coming to that community that I came from, the ghetto. Being 15, sentenced to life in prison. I was young at the time. I really didn't understand a lot of things about life. I had to be something I wasn't. I had to be grown before I was grown. I've been in a lot of different education programs since I've been incarcerated. But since they took so much money away from these programs, they don't even have teachers here. You have to rehabilitate yourself. You have to be wanting to go forward and change things in your life. I don't want this to end up being my life. I've seen too many people dying here, never have a chance to go home. A lot of people wanted better for me, but I didn't really know what better was.
First came into the system, I was 15 years old. I've been incarcerated 24 years. So, well, in my home life, my mom's an alcoholic, and she was pretty violent. So, I was often the punching bag of her little drunken tirades. So I had already ran away from home, and pretty much sometimes we'll walk around aimlessly on the street. When we're young, we make little rash mistakes, and I was really reckless, The choices that I made when I was 15, I'm 39 now, I'm definitely not repeating those mistakes again. But under the parole supervision is just like called life with no possibility of parole, because it seems like their agenda is to have everybody die in prison that's parole eligible. What's really crazy about it all is the parole board, they want us to do something and they want us to get into programs, but there's nothing available. And so when we go up before parole and we don't have any type of programs done, or we don't have any type of vocations under our belt, they penalize us and might aggravate us like 15 years because we didn't complete programs. But there are no programs available. It seems like the people who are on probation come back to prison very fast. It's like you coming out of society, and from your first week there, they want you to pay certain fees. But if you're just coming out of prison and you don't have anything, how are you going to pay $200 a month and you don't even have a job, and people don't want to hire you because you're ex-felon?
My name is Paul McGill. I'm 57 now. I was 17 when I committed my crime, and I've been here 40 years. There is the possibility of parole, technically, but they so rarely give out parole in this state. Even several legal experts have said that it is virtually a mandatory life sentence. I've been up for parole 4 times already. I currently have what they call a presumptive parole release date of December 23, 2046, which is 70 years after my crime. I've never denied it. I've lived with it as something that I cannot undo, but I can learn from it and try to help other young people not do that. And because I believe that the lack of ability for most of us as far as for communication is part of the major problem of why so many of us are in prison. We had things going wrong in our lives, and we didn't know how to talk to them about them with other people. We didn't know how to ask for help or explain ourselves without feeling shame for what we were talking about.
In prison 40 years and a few months. We were the lower middle class, or maybe a step below that. But my stepfather was a welder, and my mom was a store clerk. My father, he could have been more, but he drank everything he had away. He was a serious alcoholic. My cell partner, he's been in prison 52 years. He's 72 years old. He will never get out of prison. And it would be a serious disservice to him if he was released from prison. The fact of the matter is, the man can't even afford his own medication. The man has no family. The man has nothing. There's 100,000 people incarcerated in the state of Florida. 99% of them are poor people. Well, they got the other poor people, the people that live paycheck to paycheck, guarding us. The Florida Department of Corrections treats its officers so badly. when they're treated real bad, it just comes down on us. They haven't given them people a raise in so long, it's ridiculous. Not that I'm pro-prison guard, I'm just pro-survival. And I think about in here, I think about the things I need to do in here to make ends meet.
Why I'm doing this is I want to let people know that some kids here don't have a place to go because there's not a lot of foster homes open for us. A lot of people don't want to deal with all these problems we have. They want kids who have good records, and the fact is, the more that people refuse to give us homes or help us, the worse it's going to make us. We need someone to care. We need more foster homes open for us. I mean, how would you feel if your child or a family member was shunned from society for doing bad things?
My dad, from what I understand, he's dead, but he wasn't a part of my life growing up.
Yeah, I've been here since I was 17. I think my stepfather was a functional alcoholic for the first probably 12 years of my life.
Not going to school every day, trying to make ends meet to help my mother out, to pay the bills. There was no father figure in the house, and I feel like she needed help.
So I could say probably until like the age 10 or 11, my mom and dad used to have crack house parties. So we pretty much like raised ourselves, me and my brothers.
My mother was 15 years old when she had me. And she had already had a son before me. My oldest brother was a year older than I am. So
a place where you have to survive. You don't really thrive there, you just survive.
I've been incarcerated 44 years. I was 16 years old when I committed that crime there. I believe that we all forgot. All they were doing for to die.
And he put some whiskey in a little shot glass for me. And he let me drink it, and then he molested me. And I always remember that because it shut me up. 5. I needed help. I just wanted a place to belong.
My opinion of this place is a walking graveyard. That's all it is. This here UCI is a walking grave. I just come here to die. Old people come to die.